So this obviously got my attention, and I want to talk about it because I think there's some things that people who know AI will call out that the media is not. AI is reported in about half a dozen headlines as of yesterday evening as being a factor in the planning of the Cybertruck explosion that took place in Las Vegas on New Year's Day. So this is a case where, if you didn't read the headlines, a active duty military officer exploded his Cybertruck in Las Vegas. He was the only casualty. And for whatever reason, the sheriff decided to focus on AI as a factor in planning the explosion. And I'm not going to repeat the queries here, but I went and looked at the queries that are publicly available. And something stood out to me that nobody in the media is talking about because it was very, very obvious from a tech perspective what was going on. This person was not socially engineering the AI to answer his technical questions about the explosion, which concerns me. This person was also not asking long questions to ChatGPT. It was ChatGPT. These were Google searches effectively asked to ChatGPT. Like, if you look at these strings, they're effectively the length of a typical Google search. They're the content of a typical Google search. We would call them just domain completeness answers. Like, hey, I understand about this. I don't understand this specific aspect. Can Google go find it for me? Where is this thing? What is this thing's relationship to this thing? And if those were on Google, I guarantee you we would not be talking about Google as a factor in the Cybertruck explosion, because Google has been around for 20 years at this point. It's not news to hear that people Google. Everybody Googles. But if you're looking for something sensational, you can say, as the sheriff, ChatGPT helped with this. It's like, it really says more about behavior for search shifting to ChatGPT and the erosion of Google's search dominance than it says about something that is unique to large language models. Because the answers that were being asked for, by and large, are things that Google search would also give you. These are not like specifically large language model related queries. LLMs excel at long, complex queries. They excel at providing lengthy text responses. None of that was needed here. These were very short, like 6-word queries with short answers. And I think what's interesting is, even for someone who is outside the tech community, as this person was, it was easier to use ChatGPT for that than search. That is the real story. It was easier to use ChatGPT. The answers were more useful than search. And for people who worry about hallucinations, I gotta say, this is the best evidence I've seen that hallucinations are not a factor with ChatGPT anymore. If you're using them for tasks like this, which, by the way, if you run across these queries on the internet, which you can find relatively easily, I highly suggest you do not repeat them into ChatGPT. They're known. They will be locked down. ChatGPT's team will be keeping an eye out for similar queries. Do not do that. Don't do it. But the point here is that at the end of the day, ChatGPT became a way to get ordinary information in little bits and pieces. It was not one full query for an entire, like, complete answer to everything he asked for. It was little bits and pieces, just like we would use on Google. It was just more useful. It was easier to read. There were no search ads. The answer was right in front of you. It's the worst kind of ad for, but it does show the utility. So You can let me know in the comment what you thought. But to me, nobody in the media is talking about the fact that this is effectively Google replacement behavior, but we're using a double standard. We're saying AI helped when really Google search behavior is eroding. And we're actually seeing that behavior shift because this kind of answer is more useful. It's just a direct answer. It's like a sentence back, which is more useful than just scanning through a page of search results. That's the story. That's the story. It's not that AI has magic powers that helped, because the queries don't require the kind of magic powers, the long, large, complex responses that AI is good at. And it's a tragedy. It's not that we ever want to have the answer of AI helped with anything. It's not like I'm saying now that makes it better. It doesn't make it better. It's terrible that it happened. We clearly need better safeguards. There was no social engineering going on here. And I think part of it was that these were bits and pieces queries. And like right now, I don't think the guardrails are very good for bits and pieces queries that aren't like a full complex query that shows malicious intent. And that needs to change. And I think that's something that OpenAI is working on. Other labs are working on too. But at the end of the day, it's not about AI the way the media is portraying it. And that needs to be called out. Cheers.